Hey, it's Randy. I hope you're all doing well out there and enjoyed the tune I played at the beginning of the video. I'm here today to talk to you about the new Charvel DK24 2PT. These guitars are made in Mexico. I believe they're made in the same factory as the EVH guitars and the Made in Mexico Fenders, which are outstanding. A few months ago, I played an EVH Wolfgang that was made in Mexico when I was at the Music Zoo, and it was phenomenal. And I think it was $8.99. So when these came out, I had to get my hands on them and see what they were like, and they're phenomenal. They're unbelievable guitars. You can't touch this feature set for this amount of money. They feel, sound, and play like they cost a lot more than $999. I think the DNA probably comes at least a little bit from these, the Charvel Guthrie Govan signature. I've had these for a little over 4 years now. I got the bird's eye one first. This they referred to as a limited edition, but basically the initial run of them didn't have baked basswood bodies. And after Guthrie played the baked basswood, he decided he liked it. So the production model ended up getting baked basswood bodies. But otherwise, there are some serious differences, but there's also some very obvious similarities. Starting, first of all, with the shape. The Guthrie is more of a traditional Strat style or San Dimas body. It has a extra cutaway for the 24 frets. And the DK designation is for dinky. It's based on the dinky body style, which is slightly smaller and a little more squared off, but still based on a Strat. You can see the pickup configuration is the same. They're both doing 24 fret roasted maple necks with 12 to 16 inch compound radius boards. Both have graphite reinforcement in the necks. The beauty of these is I've had this guitar for 4 years, and the only time I ever adjusted the neck was when I switched to string gauge. Unbelievable stability. Sounds phenomenal. These guitars, I got this one and the HSS. They came out of the box when they got shipped here. This one actually was completely in tune. The pink one just needed a little bit of a tuning, but I haven't had to make any adjustments. No intonation adjustments, no action adjustments. There's no buzzing, there's no weirdness. They just play phenomenally well. So there are definitely similarities. There are also differences too. This guitar's $2,999 US, but it's built in Charvel's custom shop in California, and this one is $999. It's built in the factory in Mexico. But if you were to hand these to someone who was blind and couldn't see the flame maple neck and the bird's eye maple top, and just ask them to play them, I think they'd have a hard time telling you which they thought was more expensive. They both have the gel rubbed lacquer on the neck, so they both feel broken in. They have the rolled edged fingerboards. When you pick one of these up, it feels like you've played it forever. So the guitars are just outstanding. The difference is the Guthrie Spurzle locking tuners. The DK has Charvel branded locking tuners. The Spurzles have staggered post system, so there's no need for a string tree. The Charvels are not staggered posts, so they do have string trees. I don't know if you can tell on the video, but I don't like string trees, so I popped the strings out. I'm going to be replacing these tuners with staggered post tuners anyway. But again, there are concessions to be made. These tuners are considerably more expensive, and every little item that you put on a guitar that's a little bit more expensive becomes a lot more expensive in the end. So this guitar, $29.99, $9.99. Anyway, moving on from there, the pickups, the Guthrie Govan pickups, designed by Michael Frank Braun of the Fender Custom Shop. These pickups are Seymour Duncan's. There's a full shred in the bridge and an Alnico 2 in the neck, with a flat Strat in the middle. But the pickup configuration gives you very similar pickup switching options. On this guitar in the middle position you have the outer coils, and on this guitar in the middle position you have the inner coils, but they're both very Telly reminiscent. Electronics. Both guitars use the EVH frictionless pot, so the volume control is very effortless, and it does a beautiful job of cleaning up when you roll it down. The Charvel actually has the Fender tone. What do they call it? I don't remember, but it's like a treble bleed. But those are like $45 to buy on your own. So if you want to put a treble bleed in, you can get a treble bleed circuit. In fact, I bought a variable treble bleed that I'm going to install in this guitar that was $19 on Amazon. So that's stuff you can do on your own. This also has the no-load tone control, which actually the Guthrie does not. The Guthrie just uses a frictionless EVH tone control, which, although is great, I've actually replaced mine in my Guthrie signatures with a push-pull so that I can split the neck pickup on its own. So when I pull it up, I now have an HSS configuration. So I don't have the no-load tone control. But in this guitar, you have a no-load tone control, and basically what that means is when the knob is on 10, you're completely bypassing this pot. So a lot of people, Eddie Van Halen was famous for it, a lot of people like to remove the tone control because they don't really use it very often. And it does provide, I think resistance is the correct term to use, on the signal on the output going out. So by eliminating the tone control from the circuit, you get more of the output of your pickups going right to the output jack. So this guitar, as you can see, if I try turning it, it's not going to go. You actually have to use quite a bit of force to break it out of that detent. Now it functions like a normal tone control, but when you get it all the way up, I don't know if you can hear it, but that's a little detent that holds the knob in place. So essentially it's like it's not even there. So both of the DK guitars have that. For hardware, the Guthrie is using Charvel's version of a Floyd Rose original non-fine tuner model. They put that on his prototype last, and he decided that that was what he wanted. He'd been looking for a manufacturer to use that bridge in conjunction with locking tuners and a well-slotted nut so that he didn't have to deal with the tuning problems caused by the string below the saddle. But up until that point, he always had the Godot 510, which is what's on this guitar. And again, $29.99, $9.99. So you're getting the Godot 510. It's a fantastic bridge. It feels great. Excellent action. And you won't be disappointed. If you do crazy dive bomb kind of stuff, you're gonna have tuning issues, but $9.99. Anyway, moving on, the Guthrie guitar has a big brass block on the tremolo. This guitar uses a big steel block. Still more mass, better sustain, better tone, but steel is a lot cheaper than brass. So again, $9.99, $29.99. Nickel frets versus stainless steel, because stainless steel frets are more expensive and cost more to level and polish. $9.99, $29.99. In all reality, if you wanted to upgrade all the parts on this guitar and make it more in line with the Guthrie, for $500 you could turn this guitar into something that, aside from having fancy figured wood, would rival an instrument of that quality. They're just really, really phenomenal guitars. Both of these guitars share all of the same features. The difference between them is that the HSS has the full shred bridge humbucker, and then the flat strats in the neck and middle because it's giving you the HSS configuration. Otherwise, everything else is completely identical. The DK guitars are very heavily sculpted in the back, so any note you can't reach on this guitar is no fault of the guitars. The cutaway actually is all of this, and it's scooped heavily back here. So if you're playing, nothing is getting in the way of all the frets. I mean, even if you wanted to play the 24th fret on your low E string, there's no wood hitting my hand back here. As for this, I don't know what that's for, but I guess if you're doing your rock moves, you might need to have a little wood cut out. So I recorded some sound examples. So in the beginning, I'm just playing each guitar, going through the pickup selections, kind of noodling away. I give you some dirty, some clean, cleanish. I like more of a bluesy clean. And then lastly, I just literally run through each guitar on each pickup. I run through each guitar on each position, so you can compare them all to each other. So that's the most boring part. So that's at the end. That way, if you just want to click off, you know, I get it. Enjoy. That's the DK24 HSH and the DK24 HSS. $9.99 street price US. If you find one in a retailer, I suggest you check it out. I was at a local music store last night, big chain retailer, kind of known for the guitars on the wall not necessarily being stellar. And they had one of these, and I pulled it off the wall. And not only was it almost in tune, but even after I tuned it up, it played great, which means that's just how they're coming out of the box. So that makes all the difference in the world. The fit and finish coming from the factory means a lot. And these guitars just play fantastic. They feel great. They're just outstanding. So if you get a chance, check one out. Most online retailers have some sort of period where you can check it out. And if you don't like it, you can send it back. But if you know how a nice guitar feels and plays and sounds, I don't think you'll send it back if you get one. So knock yourself out.